I was so happy that there is something like freelance filmmaking or freelance videography where it's like, it's on you. If you want to go try to find clients, you'll be rewarded for it. If you don't, you won't be rewarded for it. You'll be punished because you don't have any money coming in. And I was like, oh, I like that. I like that what I do has a direct response to, or a direct consequence of what I get paid. And that makes it a little bit more um, enticing to try to make effort.
All right, well, welcome everyone. This is another episode of The Creative Path. I'm very excited today to be talking to Mr. David Morefield. I've been following him now for quite a bit on YouTube and really excited to dig into some of the things I've been wanting to discuss for quite a while when it comes to his career as a freelance videographer and just all the talent and skill he brings to his career into this industry. So I think with that, David, I really just wanted to give you an opportunity to quickly introduce yourself, let anyone who's just connecting with you for the first time know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for the call. This is cool. I say my day to day is doing one man band freelance corporate videography. Sometimes it can scale up, sometimes it can scale down. And I got my start, oddly enough, from skateboarding. And like the trajectory makes sense when I look back. But in the middle of it, it was just, oh, I'm just playing with cameras. And essentially, if you're skateboarding with your friends, you want to film it, you want to make videos, and you do that enough in the community, then the skate park says, oh, hey, we have a contest coming up. You always got a camera on you. Can you make a little video for us? Sure, I can do that. And then, the skaters have some sponsors. They want to send them some footage. And then
Mm-hmm.
my mom knew one of the skaters' parents who was a real estate agent. And she's like, oh, camera, you must be able to do real estate photos. I can learn how to do real estate photos. And then it just like quickly adds up, and more people see you with the camera and they associate you with that, and it kind of organically builds to now where I'm working with a bunch of friends who have done the exact same thing with their own journey, and we're all making our living from cameras. And I think the part that a lot of people can identify, or they can feel a little closer to with my YouTube channel, is I'm showing like accessible work. I'm not showing working on feature films for National Geographic. That'd be cool if I could get there one day. But right now on YouTube, I'm just showing behind the scenes of me working with a camera
Yeah.
to jobs that a lot of people can, they're just like a tier below or they're around it, and they could get there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the value that my channel has.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely why I personally connected with you and resonated with you is because not only are you kind of showing something that most people don't see, which is the behind the scenes process. I think that's becoming a lot more popular these days. People getting a real hands on feel for how this industry works, some of the practicalities of, being a DP, running a business. Um, but also, like you said, there's the entry point is just lower and lower these days in terms of people's ability to work on some of these projects as long as you're learning the fundamentals of shooting and ultimately how to scale out a business. Now I find it really interesting that I think you mentioned this in one of your vlogs before that you did start with skateboarding. You're like there's a lot of guys I've heard, interestingly enough, that was their start. They were filming their friends skating and making mixes, and I think that's the really fun and interesting look back at so many people's starts to their career is that they're just doing something for fun that just feels like they can connect with their friends. What was that like a early creative passion that you had was filming, or did you just want to create something in the skating world, and you didn't even think video would be a part of your future.
Well, when you're skating and you're watching these skate videos of these professionals who are, they're so stylish, they're so um, like they can skate so well, well beyond what you could fathom, and then they have the coolest videos that are coming out and making them look even cooler. You're like, I just want to be one of those guys. I want to be a
Mm,
professional skater. And then you're looking at you and your buddies and you're like, what could we do with what we have? So you begin to kind of be like, I'm gonna do it in that style. Like for me, it was Alien Workshop skateboards. I just love the random B-roll they would use, and they just had so much texture on their videos. And I was like, I like that style. So it encourages you to try random video practices, and you just want to be like one of those pros in the videos.
yeah, yeah. That's the. I think that's just a part of learning early on, is taking some inspiration that you connect with and maybe trying to mimic that a little bit, find your personal style. And yeah, I mean, for me, I started off actually doing photos first. I just wanted to take family photos and pictures of my dog, and that type of thing. And the more I got familiar with a camera, I think my creative passion leaned more towards the visual storytelling you could do with video. And so, what was that for you? I mean, you mentioned the process of maybe building out a network, more people recognizing you for the skill you had, but when did you really feel like video was becoming something you could turn into maybe a hustle or a job or even a full career?
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like let me start my foundational network to kind of lead me into these new leads. It was nothing that nothing that smart. It was more so the projects and ideas and opportunities would come to me because I was out there doing things. And it doesn't mean they were paid things. It just means I was out there doing things. And so it doesn't even mean you're good. It just means people see you with the camera and they associate you doing that, and they need that service. Can you do it for free? Can I pay you to do it? Like, can you come out and I'll let you be a part of this? Like, any one of those would give you access to going deeper into a community. So there wasn't anything super intentional that I did. In hindsight, I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense. Like if I can go deeper into one sector, then I can scale that ladder and get to the more influential people, the people
Mm,
who are making events happen or sponsorship opportunities. And like that's where you're gonna get some of the money opportunities. But when you're on the surface level of any group, usually there's not that much money being involved. If you're just, someone just says, "Oh, hey, like you're not really deep into this life of our community." It seems like the opportunities get bigger and better the deeper you go into that
yeah,
community.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of proactive, intentional path that you start to go down, as opposed to being like a reactive, someone just randomly reaches out and they're looking for something. You start to pursue maybe the work that you can can see the most value in, and that you're starting to specialize in. And I've noticed, of course, with your vlogs that it seems like you've kind of catered to more of the corporate side, the event side, those type of clients. Is that also where you've found, you've set your grounding and you want to continue to really carve out a niche in that space? Or is that maybe where you've just found the most recent success and have kind of stuck in that arena for a little while?
Yeah, to answer your first question of like when did the money start coming in, it was when that real estate connection happened, and that was really nice because it taught me how to work with a client. This was the first time it felt like, oh, I'm working with a client, an end client, and they need 25 photos for this real estate listing, and then maybe they want some video, then maybe they want some drone. So I need to figure out how we can communicate before I get there, so we already know what we need to capture. I can figure out how to invoice, had to learn all that. First it was just text in an email, you owe me
Hmm.
this much, or I'll pick up a paper check next time I'm there. And then you get 15 clients, and you're like, I don't remember. Did I get that check for that one thing? So write it down in a notebook, and then eventually it moves to I need some more organization. I need QuickBooks. I need to pay for software so that I can be accountable, and it makes it easier for this person to pay their invoice. They can see what happened, when it was, and so I think that real estate, I did it for like 4 years, and I just got burned out. But it was a very, very helpful exercise on me learning how to work as a business and not just work with a camera. Like those were two different things that I had to learn. First, I had to learn the tool, and then I had to learn like how does a business operate. So
Yeah.
that was really nice because it didn't have huge consequences if I messed up, and I messed up a lot. So I was able to figure things out, and that led to me finding some other opportunities. I was doing some freelance editing work for a convention video, like a company that provided video services for conferences and conventions.
Okay.
I was,
Hmm.
I was just working as an editor there part time, and I had there was one opportunity where they were like, "Do you film too?" It's like, "Yeah, I film." Like, I'm not even good at editing. I'd rather be
Yeah.
filming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so then I was able to jump onto that, and then I was like, oh man, I'm not sweating doing drone stuff outside and getting exteriors. I'm in an air conditioned conference room.
Hmm.
I'm on the expo floor. We have per diems. I'm learning about what that is. I have travel days. I like this, and ever since I kind of got into that, I was like, let me push deeper into that community.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I think, one of the first videos I saw of you was because I know you're based out of Florida. And so people out there do a lot of outdoor activities. I think you were maybe getting off of a boat into the water or something. And, that of course looked like it took some commitment to being in the elements, taking your camera into maybe some uncomfortable spaces. And so, yeah, the corporate world is a little bit more cushy and comfortable, so to speak. And I think you've also mentioned in one of your videos that things are maybe a little bit more predictable, and those clients, have very reasonable standards that that you're confident in meeting. So, makes sense. You would definitely go in that direction. Yeah, I mean, in your vlogs, you come off as a very confident guy, very intelligent, very experienced. What was really like your learning curve? You mentioned making, a couple mistakes here or there. Was it just repetition? Were you learning from other people? What was, did you have a mentor? What was kind of your uh, path in growing your skills and your knowledge?
That's a good question. Yeah, I've definitely made so many mistakes in small scale, big scale. I think what really helped is I didn't try to play above my skill level too early. So I would work with other people who were at my level. And if kind of you're at this skill level, and then they're at this skill level, that usually means no one's getting paid that much. And that was a blessing because the stakes weren't massive. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have all these huge things. So I was much younger. I've been doing this since I say I've been making solid money from a camera since like 2014, or just making money from a camera since 2014. But I've been filming skateboarding since like 2008. So when I was in 2014, when I'm like working with the local skate park and a real estate agent where it's like $60 for the shoot, not that much can go wrong. Like I've made mistakes where they're like, in the real estate shoot, did you get pictures of the second bathroom? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, okay, like what decision do I want to make? Do I want to stand on my ground to be ignorant and say like I didn't get it and I'm not going to go get it? Or do I drive back completely not getting paid and say that was my fault? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get you that photo and improve this relationship because I kind of dropped the ball, or whatever. It could be technical faults, it could be business faults. But working with people at that level, it's like the expectations were not so intense.
Yeah.
So I could kind of like move around in that space, and then they level up and I level up a little bit, and now we're in this little space. So that organic type of experience is growing, technical abilities are growing, and business acumen is growing. Made it an enjoyable process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. I know a lot of people that start off doing, weddings and events where, like you said, you got to get it right the first time. Otherwise, it's a big regret and a failure. And that I think is a common rookie mistake is, get some practice in some spaces where you can try over and it's not going to be too damaging. What was like your first? What were you using early on to shoot skating videos and then into real estate? You remember what your kit
Yeah,
was?
of course. The first real camera I got was a Sony VX2000, which in skateboarding, that was like one of the higher tier cameras. So it's a camcorder, you hold it
Mm-hmm.
like this, and it had a little flip out LCD screen, servo zoom, record button on top. And I've been like chasing that form factor ever since, just because
Yeah.
it's so what's the word, intuitive. It's just so
Mm.
easy to use.
Mm.
And but I would be buying mini DV tapes from CBS, and then mini DV tapes were getting kind of expensive, and you could
Yeah.
only do 60 minutes on the tape, and I have a whole shoebox of tapes. And when DSLRs came out, and I was like, "You're telling me I can film on this 16 gigabyte card for forever
Mm-hmm.
and just keep offloading the footage?" That was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I used a Canon 60D, Canon 80D, Panasonic GH5S. That was probably the biggest like upswing in perform like camera performance. And then it went to Canon C70, and then it went to Sony FX6, which is what I currently have.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I started off with a Canon. I mean, I shot with like little point and shoots, little digital cameras for just home video stuff. But it wasn't until I got a T7i that was like my first experience with a DSLR and all the manual controls and everything that you just start to fall in love with learning all different type of setups and what works for you. Um, so that's awesome. Do you still have the your first camcorder?
No, I wish I
No.
did. I really wish I had that VX2000 because they're hard to find
Mm,
in condition that you can still turn it on.
yeah.
I think I have the Canon 80D. I don't have the GH5S, but yeah, it would be cool to keep these
Just have
cameras
a
now.
yeah.
Like I just,
Yeah.
the Canon, I want to say it was like the 60D with the 10 to 18 millimeter lens. So it's APS-C, crop sensor, that $1,100 Canon 60D, and then the 10 to 18, which was probably like $350, somewhere around there. That has probably been one of the highest like cost to profit setups I've ever had.
Mm,
So it's like under $2,000 for what I needed to shoot real estate. And I would shoot photo, snap, 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 turn it to video, shoot video. And yeah, like it's the profit margins on that setup for real estate was so nice.
yeah.
Now into corporate videography, when I do one man band stuff, I kind of need to have a little bit of everything. I don't go too far, but it costs a lot more, especially with
Yeah.
the current tools.
Yeah. Yeah. That's excuse me. I have found that to be really interesting how you are able to do so much solo. I think a lot of people starting out, of course, are just trying to do everything themselves. Eventually, you realize for certain scale productions, ideally could use an extra set of hands, or maybe you're the extra set of hands for a project. Is that just your preference? Do you enjoy working as a solo filmmaker and kind of having control, or what's the dynamic with that? That seems like it's something you're kind of committed to.
I'm definitely introverted. Like I have like a social battery that runs out so fast. Like this morning I had a coffee cafe, and I think I had probably like 10 people come out. And we were there for 2 hours. It's really good community aspect. A lot of people wanted to meet other people. Some people wanted to speak directly with me. I'm like, let's just do it all at the same time. That's how these filmmaker meetups started. And I do them every few months. I do them in different cities around the US. So this was one of them where I was like, let's just go get coffee. And at the end of that, I'm toast. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I can put on a face to be clear, speak clearly. Let's try to coordinate these talks, and let's make it concentrated and effective and valuable for everybody. But at the end of it, man, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah,
right there
it's
with you. It's and this can be a very, that's the interesting thing is that you can definitely navigate this industry as a introvert, especially for certain projects, maybe like an event where you can just move around solo, you stay out of people's ways, you do the job and leave. But then there's the other side where, yeah, sometimes you got to be really social and present and available with people, and that could be completely draining.
Yeah,
Um,
that happens a lot where you're in the situation and you're like, I wouldn't normally push any further beyond this comfortability
mm,
level, but I'm not going to be able to deliver what I've been requested unless I go talk to those people and set up this shot, or like if it's event coverage, or go talk to this person and let's get this ball rolling. So you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, am I going to not deliver on what I
yeah,
was hired to? No, I need to go talk to them and I need to do it. And that's an easier way to be more extroverted than just deciding to be more extroverted. Like I have an excuse that I
hmm
need to like push forward. But no, I've always been like that. You know, and I've been able to do that in the job. I like small crews. I like just doing things with myself, maybe another person, and there's room to do that. You know, if you are going to be a director, there's probably not room to do that.
mm-hmm.
So I think you, instead of like picking the role that you think you want to do, I think if you look at your personality and say, how do I interact most comfortably? There's a role for that usually
Yeah.
somewhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
you look at like an audio guy, they don't talk to anyone. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the shoot, they say, "Can I put this mic on you?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing you hear from them,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
shoot. And and they're just in their
It
own world.
works. Yep.
So there's other people who enjoy corralling people, and they like um, propping people up and say, let's get the best out of you. Let's hype this up. We can do this as a team. It's like, okay, you're probably a director.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where your strengths are.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at your personality, it'll kind of reveal what your natural tendencies are. And to me, it makes more sense to follow those natural tendencies than to like go against the grain of what your instincts are. And that is not only apparent in the role that you work in, but also your business structure.
Mm.
I'm a freelancer. I'm an independent person for hire.
Mm-hmm.
I usually work for an agency who is doing all the staffing and putting all these pieces together. I'm just one puzzle piece. And when they tell me I need to be over there, I can go be over there and I can do my best, knock it out of the park. So, some people just like to be an editor. They want to be in the room, in their dark room, working with the materials and putting out the best thing they can. So
Yeah.
I think it translates to everything, your role,
Yeah.
how your business operates, all of it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. As you alluded to, I think people will sometimes try to maybe force themselves into too far down a level of uncomfortability where it takes away from what they're doing. It starts to wane on you if you're forcing yourself to be the type of person you're not. So the more you can naturally lean into the work that caters to your personal needs and behaviors, I think you're going to find a lot more success there. Yeah, I mean, look, man, that's how I am in life as well. I can go out and go to maybe a social event with my wife and talk to people when necessary, go back to my little corner, talk to people when necessary, just try to find a good balance with that. And so that's been, I think, a big part of working with clients also, is just, giving them what they need. And ultimately, I've found that the more people do, of course, enjoy working with you and maybe being able to connect with you personally, they'll want to reconnect. But sometimes there's, you gotta have some safeguards. Well, I mean, look, what of course I got, I became aware of you through your YouTube channel and the vlogs that you do. And I've been kind of really fascinated by the consistency you've had there. It takes a lot of work, I think, when you're going onto a project, to try to think about, capturing behind the scenes. You come back, you do voiceovers, you put it all together, you publish things, you're creating that content. What first compelled you to do that? And then how have you been able to stay so consistent with it? I think you have over like 300 videos on YouTube at this point. What's been the whole approach to that?
Now that we've been talking about this, like first I was inspired by the skate videos and like wanting to make something like that. I'm kind of realizing it was the exact same thing from the Cranky Cameraman, and he would put out behind the scenes vlogs. I don't know if you've seen his channel on YouTube.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
have
seen him?
actually. Mm-hmm.
So I saw his stuff and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I feel like I'm doing a job shadow for free on a
Mm.
set that I would not have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not at his level. I could show the behind the scenes at my level, and maybe someone below that would be interested. So it was a very easy, like, he's doing it on his phone. He's just uploading to YouTube. It's a little voiceover. Like, this is not that difficult, tech technically wise. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
I could do this, and then doing that, and then getting some community interaction of people being like, "Oh, that's cool that you're working this type of job. I would use this light, or I would. What lens are you using, or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh, this is fun." I'm like talking with people that I would have no connection with if I didn't make these. So I want to make some more. And I'll put a little, style onto it this way, and I'm gonna move this around. And I think as far as the consistency aspect, I've said it many times, it's just the path of least resistance. The path to get my video out is the path that I want to take. Like I said, I hate editing. I don't want to work when I come back from work. So if I can just string together a couple clips that are on my phone into CapCut that's on my phone, and then upload it to YouTube from my phone, it's easy. It's not too hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I just,
simplify things.
just take that path.
Mm. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly like a consistent theme when I've talked to other creators, is just keep it as simple as possible. Otherwise, burnout, like you said earlier, can happen in so many different ways, and just consistency in and of itself, I think, leads you towards, you know, just some up and down moments where you're feeling like you can't keep up with what you've committed to. So the simpler it is, And also the, you know, like you said, I guess you're standardizing, just knowing you want to get a handful of B-roll, do a short voiceover, do it on your phone. I think you know what to expect with that as well. So
Well, you
that's
know
pretty
what's cool
cool.
about that is a lot of the times I'm filming and I'm handing my card over, and then the agency takes it, and I'm just not involved with anything after that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
did that video come out? Like, maybe it was an internal corporate video that I'm not going to see, or it's part of a larger project that I don't have access to, or I don't know. I've never seen a lot of the stuff that I shoot. Um, so this was a fun, like, reflexive way of
Mm-hmm.
filming, putting it out, and being like, I made something and put it out. That was cool.
Yeah, you see the
Is
end
it's
product.
the quality of what I charge for? No, but it's cool to kind of like check that little box and be like, I made something, and like just boom, 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 and then it starts to build, and I'm starting to learn about YouTube and audience retention and this whole different side that I didn't really care about, but it's just a fun experiment,
Yeah.
and these opportunities just kind of like pop up from that vlog.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you mentioned that as well. I mean, that's just another tool also to kind of showcase your work, who you are, put yourself out there with your personal brand, and that ultimately can lead towards more work and a bigger network. I think you are here. I don't know, man. I live in Atlanta. You had done a meetup last year sometime, and I didn't find out about it till afterwards. So hoping you can come back for that. What has been like a highlight for you with, building out your community? Anything that's stood out in terms of people you've met, or, really memorable moments you've had?
So many. I think the overarching one is how much money people have made from being in these meetups, which leads to Instagram chats, which leads to other people being added to that chat who were not at the initial meetup, and then it just blossoms. So I have like, usually I team up with someone in a city, like in San Francisco it was Tommy Beal, in New York it was John Waldman, in Dallas it was Jared Phelps, and then they take this community and they foster it. Some of them don't even know that I was involved with its inception, and they pass jobs around in there. I would say easily there has been over $500,000 worth of jobs passed around in all of these national chats, and maybe more than that, because I know one local friend here who just made 50K last year from connections made in there. I've made a ton from connecting people, even if I'm not even involved in this project. Um, Someone in New York says, I need a drone operator in California. So I can ask someone in my San Francisco chat, you know any drone ops in LA? And I connect them. And that's a scary part when you're flying across the country and you're supposed to hire a local guy and you're like, I don't know, how do I find someone?
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Personal vouching and referrals
Yeah,
and
it's
connect,
huge.
like this whole network. I think that is the hands down the coolest part about this, is so many people are benefiting. Not just me, I get hired, but so many people are being a part of this thing,
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't know it, even if they didn't sign up for it. I'm going to refer you. I'm going to connect you. If you are showing that you are doing whatever you're doing, there's a chance I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to refer you out when the
Yeah,
next person asks.
yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I've seen that happen, pretty consistently in the Atlanta group chat, on Instagram. Is, these guys are open and willing to support each other, which is such an awesome thing. I think a lot of people have, not necessarily because they're introverted, but because they feel like in so many creative spaces, you do a lot of gatekeeping. You feel like you need to reserve every opportunity for yourself. You don't want to pass something along, but it's the complete opposite of that. Like, the more I've tried to bring other people into opportunities, the more that just flips, and it's just a back and forth of trying to champion and support each other. So I think that's great that you've been able to do that in several different cities. And have you thought of like anywhere new that you want to tap into or head to in the upcoming year?
Oh yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go towards an area where there is someone who is putting themselves out because I know that they're putting in work. So there's a guy named Alberto Mendoza in San Diego. I would love to team up with him sometime this year if I can get over there. Um, and I know in the Pacific Northwest, there's some people. Chicago, I get requested for that a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's in that vein of the path of least resistance. Is that if I see someone else who's putting themselves out there, I'm like, oh, you would be a good teammate to have. And I get some people who say, hey, I'd love to do something with you. Hire me. I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't have any. You're putting the burden on me to figure out
Mm-hmm.
how to implement you, and that's I'm not taking the time for that. But if there's someone else who is just on their own path and they're crushing it, that makes me want to say, hey, what are you doing? I would love to look at. I have my momentum. You have your momentum. Let's bring this together. So that is like a very, very valuable thing is to just show other people that you have momentum and you can do that on whatever platform that you like to do that on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's why there's been a big shift too with a lot of the content creation in this space is more people are trying to showcase themselves and the work and their, maybe a little bit less of the fancy edits and the portfolio stuff, but show that they're putting in effort into scaling their business and how they go about that. And I think that's what offers a lot of value back, but also starts to build a connection and like a transparency with you know with other people connecting with you. So that's uh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I hope we'll see if you can come back to Atlanta sometime. I need to hop back in the group chat and see if the guys are doing anything pretty soon. But
Well,
cool.
going on to that of um, posting your work, I have a buddy who posts his deliverables onto YouTube, and I think YouTube and Instagram are very different. So he'll post his event recap deliverables onto YouTube, and they don't get any views because it'll be like this event over in this state, and then this event over in this state, and there's no connective tissue between any of this. There's no audience that's being informed of a journey. And I was like, man, like you should show at least if you're going to post your deliverables, at least show some behind the scenes of like how you made it or something. Otherwise, no one's searching for event recap on X weekend sponsored by this. It's just
Exactly.
it's
That's
not
just
going to
for
be
the
found.
client. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's people need to resonate with what you're doing because they might be doing the same exact thing and they can learn from you or take inspiration. And that only comes from, like you said, showcasing your process and uh, yeah, that's it's a different style. I think that more people are gravitating towards these days. Um,
And I would also say if you're gonna post something like behind the scenes or something, I'm gonna say to be lazy. And by that I mean don't try to go over the top and be some entity that you're not. Just be lazy because if in the same stroke as being the business, whatever your personality shines through in your business, it's the same thing for putting out this type of content. Just go with the flow of how you naturally think and how you want to put stuff out. And then that will come across way better than if you were trying to completely change how the words come out of your mouth, how
mhm.
you're viewed, all that stuff. It gets exhausting. That's how you're
Mm.
going to burn out is by trying to be this thing that is not natural to you. So just be lazy. Do it the way that comes natural, and that will garner much more authenticity to your audience than some other way that
Yeah.
is not natural to you.
Yeah. 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 And that's easy enough to keep up with is when you're just being your authentic self. It's easy to show up that way. Um, yeah, man. So, what's kind of your trajectory right now? I saw you also talk a little bit about, trying to just continue scaling your business. You have maybe some financial goals and things you want to do personally, but like, what's your next step? What are you really aiming for to continue growing?
I like the stage I'm at right now. Like that is nice to feel like I'm completely content to stay where I'm at, which is a double-edged sword too, because you're not improving anything. But I do like what I've achieved so far, and the systems and how I operate in my business. So I like that. I When I think about scaling, I always ask people like, how are you thinking of scaling? Usually the blanket answer is, oh, I'm going to step up more to a managerial level and I'm going to bring crew in, and that way I don't have to be there. And that way I could have multiple crews going out on the same day and I can take profit margin from all these projects. And when I hear that, I'm like, oh, but you're not going to be filming. You're not going to be on set. You're going to
Or
be a salesman. Yeah, you're going to be a supervisor. And like, to me, I don't want to do that. So the other side of that, the alternative side is it would be being on bigger projects, more highly funded projects. And I still like small crews. So I don't know exactly how to get there, but if I can keep my skill set slightly improving, then I can share that on the internet, and then other people can see, oh, he works at that level. So some of it is me taking the first step, and there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do that. You can try to buy a bunch of gear that can signal, oh, I'm at this level. But unless you are at that level, it's going to be pretty obvious that you're not. It'd be maybe taking a smaller role on a higher level set. That's a way in. Maybe meeting the right people, or you increasing the standards of when you work with a client. Maybe they're like, we only want to pay for this much standard, and you're like, well, I want to be at this. So I'm going to eat the cost and bring us up here
mm,
because that's what I want to do on set. That's what I want to show to everyone else, and I'm gonna make it happen, even
mm,
though the budget's not there.
mm,
So I don't know, maybe a mix of all those.
hmm
Passion projects are nice. If I can ever do like documentaries,
yeah.
those always help.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think there's sometimes a little bit of a balancing act between what you are comfortable with, what's working, what you maybe have aspirations for that you need to sacrifice extra time or cost or even like a little bit of unfamiliarity and experimentation with. And then, yeah, it's just, what opportunities are going to be presented to you. Sometimes also just being willing to try something completely new. I mean, you also mentioned, do you have the type of creative aspiration to do something like a feature film, or what's a dream? I know you're comfortable and you're good now, but what's like a dream scenario where you're comfortable and operating at something, you know, the next level of things? What does that look like for you?
That's a good question because it's not gonna come unless I figure out some way to take action to get there. So it would hands down be like a cam op or a DP for an Anthony Bourdain style travel show where we're going out for a few days to this location, and it's documentary, it's a little reality, it's constructed scenes. We're going to talk to this person about that, but we're also going to follow the action, and your brain has to just be on the whole time in documentary situations, which I really enjoy. So I would love to get into a crew like that. And I've been able to get into a few documentary scenarios on bigger crews, like stories that were not my own. And those have always been fun to jump in. I have two documentaries right now, two feature lengths that I had a small role in that are have now released. So one of
Oh,
them
awesome.
is on Amazon Prime. So this director did his whole feature film, and he needed one more day of pickup shots to link kind of the story together. So I had no clue what the full story was, and I just came in for that. And he's like, "Hey, it's on Amazon Prime now." I was like, "Oh, cool! I want to watch it. I want to
Yeah.
see what you did, and I'll probably make a video about it, and I'll share with other people." I worked on this documentary. It's now on Amazon Prime, and who knows where that will lead. And then another one, they self-released on their website. It's an Australian documentary. They just came to Orlando for, I think, 2 days of work. That's out in the public now. So those are two things that I can't wait to watch. And then I have a friend who's kind of doing, like, he's calling it a city series, where he's going to different businesses in the town and, like, hey, if you're coming to this town, you should go to this place for lunch. You should go to this place for recreation, this one for nightlife. And I would like to see if I can talk to him about, can we steer this into the Anthony Bourdain style show that I want to do? And I can help bring my value and my expertise and my manpower into your thing. Hopefully to elevate you. It can work for everybody, but I think those types of thoughts of how do I get there? I have the dream, like you're saying, I have the dream. How do I get there? It becomes very microscopic and granular of, like, well, can I just work? Can I make my own thing? Or can I twist my buddy's project into kind of leaning that direction? There's usually a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. No, keeping that at the forethought is important. Because yeah, you never know what you're working on or could be working on upcoming that will eventually lead towards that, or you're practicing the skills that will eventually be required for that. But I mean, it also sounds like you have an interest to kind of get back into maybe less predictable, monotonous type of stuff. Documentaries is can be very organic and fluid, and you're in just a bunch of different environments and situations. Is that also something personally that makes you feel energized and you like creatively?
Yeah, there is this nice crossover sometimes where you could do corporate interviews, and you could just have the person seated here, and we record the whole interview, and they say whatever message that they need to say. And sometimes in those corporate clients, they need a little bit more of a humanistic element, and they're like, can you film something that's like kind of like got this documentary feel to it? We just don't want to feel so like pencil to paper type of vibe. And and that's great because you're kind of working with the elements of, like, let's follow a storyline and see where the storyline goes, but let's get paid corporate rates so that we make more money. And that's always nice. Corporate funded documentaries are this nice crossover where you're able to get some good amount of funding for yourself, and you're able to push the boundaries a little bit, but it's definitely message focused. And we are trying to hit a certain message we want to have come across. So there is this spectrum of where you can get the money that you are searching for and still have the practice of filmmaking that is a little different than before. Sometimes the spontaneity is fun, where you're like, I'm just going to follow the action, see where this goes. So I like that about freelancing, is I can bounce from one to the other whenever an opportunity comes up, I can decide, do I want to take it? Is this in line with what I want to do? Am I exhausted? Like there's so many choices that you're given when freelancing that that in itself makes it fun.
Yeah, I think yeah that's the coolest part is you can take yourself in any direction. You know, as long as you have the skills and you make yourself available, you can try a bunch of stuff. That's honestly been something I've struggled with personally though. On the the flip side of it is that in talking to other creators as well, they've shared the importance of kind of niching down and how that enables you to have more of a footprint in specialized industry or space and make more people aware of you there. But then you can maybe be a little bit pigeonholed creatively, or you start to get tired of what you're doing. And I still have not entirely figured out what niche I want to pursue. But speaking of like documentary stuff, I really have enjoyed shooting sports the past couple years, just because I kind of have a sports background and love that industry, and I've wanted to maybe take it in the direction of documenting these athletes, not just capturing games and highlights, but the full spectrum of their experience. And so that's something I think in the next year I want to start digging into a little bit more. So maybe need to take some advice from you on how you've worked through
Well,
that the
yeah,
first time.
let's do a little workshop. What would a micro step towards that be?
Well, the first thing that I came up with was I've been working with a school recently, a high school, and their basketball team. They have a season coming up in the fall. I've wanted to kind of hone into one particular athlete in terms of his preparation over the summer and leading into the season, and doing a couple interviews with him and behind the scenes of his prep, and seeing if I can compile that into something that has a little mini doc feel. So that's like my first practical exercise with it. In fact, I just was at the school this afternoon shooting their first summer practice, so hoping to start kind of capturing some of that stuff. But I don't know, man. I haven't. Sometimes I miss that step of sitting down and intentionally writing down. Okay, this is what I want to do today and next week and next month, and kind of building out a plan there. So I think that's a big part of it, that you can get some reps in as well as knowing what your process looks like to kind of build up and scale up. And I could probably talk to you another, like I said, 10 hours about all pre-production and what's your day of prep, and then what do you do after projects conclude, whether it's how you stay in contact with these clients or manage your business or move on to looking at the next project. So maybe we can talk again about that another time. But really, I kind of wanted to, kind of wind things down. I know we're almost hitting the hour mark here, and I'm really just curious about you as a person. If you weren't doing this type of work, doing video, what would be, what's your other passions? Anything else that you could see as a career or a dream job, or something that you would pursue?
Think of what I said earlier of like go with where your personality is. I had one 9 to 5 job. I was like customer support for like some retail brand, and it was like seasonal. It was for like 6 weeks. I was so bad at it, had no passion for it, couldn't wait to get out every day. And I just knew, I was like, oh, this is not for me. So I was so happy that there is something like freelance filmmaking or freelance videography where it's like, it's on you. If you want to go try to find clients, you'll be rewarded for it. If you don't, you won't be rewarded for it. You'll be punished because you don't have any money coming in. And I was like, oh, I like that. I like that what I do has a direct response to, or a direct consequence of what I get paid. And that makes it a little bit more enticing to try to make effort. Whereas, if you're getting paid hourly and it's like, doesn't matter if I do my job well, do it bad, I'm getting paid hourly, and it just feels like I'm not being valued. So it would have to be something in that realm of owning a business, and having a direct effort. I definitely would not be an employee somewhere. There's just too many things that don't jive with how I think, and I think a lot of people might consider owning a business as risky or untraditional or impossible. And once you get into that world of seeing like a bunch of business owners, whether it's me, I'm a business owner of my LLC, or a business owner of a restaurant, or a business owner of someone who's trying to do a nonprofit or whatever, you're like, oh, these are just guys.
Just people. Yeah.
They're just
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they just decided to put their effort over here. That's all it is. So it would be something like that where someone would see me and be like, that's just a guy. How is he why is he doing this?
Yeah.
It would be something like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, that totally makes sense. I think that can be a part of a person's identity is they just want to control their own outcomes, and I think philosophically the whole testament of what you put into your life is what you get out of it. I think it's the same thing is true to your business, your career, whatever your goals are. You can only achieve what you're willing to put into things. So that totally makes sense, man. I'm right there with you.
Well, it's
And
really nice as well, because if you want to try harder, you will get more in return. If I try harder at an hourly job, I will not get more in
yeah,
return
exactly.
unless it's what is it called when you get a commission based?
Right,
Sure,
sales, something like that.
but you're
Yeah.
staying at your position, your sales position. If anything, you're cementing your sales position because they're like, you're a good salesman, stay there and sell. So I like the idea of being like, I could move up in I could promote myself from DP to production company owner if that's the route that I'm starting to enjoy more, and I can bring crew in.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's not what I want to do, but I could do that. And that type of business creativity that is afforded to you is very nice, because it's basically you're just asking yourself like, what do I want to do? Do I want to scale things bigger? Do I want to constrict and just be a one-man band guy and only offer this amount of services? For me, my constriction was, I don't want to edit anymore. I hate doing it. I am bad at it. And when I stopped giving deliverables to client, like end finished deliverables, I started working with people who were saying, oh, you're a specialist, you're just on production, you're just
Yeah.
in camera department. Oh, great, we'd like to pay you more. You're going to do more of the work that you enjoy. You're going to do less of the work. You're going to do none of the work that you don't enjoy, editing. And you're going to be able to kind of like climb that ladder of your more specialized. So like you said, some people have said, yo, you need a niche down. What I've seen work is I'm going to try to go into a world, into a community, into a vertical, and as deep as I can, and I'm gonna market that, and I'm gonna say, my name is David Morefield. I'm a one-man band, corporate videographer, sometimes a DP for documentaries and crews like that. So I'm gonna try to push in that. And then when another job comes to me that is not that, I will take it and I won't show anyone. I'm not saying no to it. I'm still receiving that income. I need to work. I'm not going to market myself as that because I don't want more of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a great recommendation and a good way to balance. Not throwing opportunities out the window just for the sake of it, but really still staying focused to how you represent yourself. With potential customers and clients. So that's a really good
Especially,
point. Yeah,
especially if that connection can go beyond that type
yeah.
of job type.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't, that job isn't that valuable to me. That connection is valuable because he's always doing cool stuff. I do have some boundaries like weddings. I'll never shoot a wedding. But there's other things where I'm like, yeah, let me jump into this. One, I can meet way more people. It's a different type of role, so now we're doing some fun experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just see what opportunities come out of that. It might be nothing, and that alone might be fun to be like, yeah, but I did something different,
Mm-hmm.
and that was cool in
Exactly.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't you just do something recently with like a boxing event, or was
yeah.
yeah, was that was like a couple months ago maybe?
No, that was 2 weeks ago. This is that client who I said we were both grunts and we were not good. And then as they leveled up, I leveled up, and he went his way, I went my way, but we still would work together, and
Mm.
we're really good friends. And so when he got a massive client, he needed some dates where he wouldn't be available. So he's going to go to the people that he trusts.
Yeah.
So I got to be the gimbal cam operator for Top Rank Boxing. It was just in Norfolk, Virginia for the Keyshawn Davis fight. And
Mm.
then I've done
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of other fights for him before that. Like talking about a fish out of water, feeling uncomfortable, um, a job that I do not have access to without knowing this guy.
Yeah.
It hit all of that.
Yeah.
And that's fun to do. And also, it's not my favorite type of job, but my relationship with that guy, Dalton, is worth a lot. And I want to keep that intact. And it's also a nice thing I can put out on the vlog, and other people can say, oh, you're kind of in that space too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's also something you just now know you can do. I think that's another cool thing about trying new stuff is that it may not even be what your focus or passion is, but at least you know you can do it if the opportunity comes around again. So, and that really is the broader sentiment, I think, with, the stuff you show on YouTube. One of the reasons I wanted to do some of this interview series is to touch with different creators who just show that, back to your point, these are just people out here that just have goals. They have the time, effort, and skill to try some of this stuff and eventually build careers behind it. And if people are interested in pursuing that, they can do it. It's totally possible. There's just a few things to learn along the way. So, yeah, really, really appreciate the content you've been putting out there, and hope to continue following you along with that. And with that, man, I mean, I think we'll kind of wrap things up there. I of course always just appreciate, you're one of the first people that was willing to respond and participate in this series. I'm kind of just getting started with it, so thanks for being at the beginning of that journey there. And I appreciate you guys for watching another episode. Hopefully, today you learned some cool things about David, and how he's navigated as a freelancer. Some of the really awesome stuff he brings is on his YouTube channel. Of course, you can follow him on Instagram as well. But encourage you to check out the vlog series. You'll probably start binge watching a bunch of those videos because they're sweet and to the point, and you learn a lot throughout. So. Yeah, but also hope you guys will check out the full interview on the YouTube channel. If you're interested in seeing me talk to any other creators, or you want to participate yourself, then just let me know. And David, again, really appreciate your time today, man. And hopefully we can talk again sometime soon.
We absolutely can.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks everybody. Hope you take care, and we'll catch you in the next episode.